We're going to have entertainment. We're going to have speakers. We're going to have games for children and for adults. Vendors. And people can go online and see where the celebration is on the website for the Alabama Tourism Bureau. And so when they find that we're having the celebration, we're being contacted from people who are asking, about being a part of the event. So if we can attract folk from outside of Tuskegee to come here and be a part of this, then certainly we want the folk right here at home to be a part of it as well.
Now, who is this celebration for? Are you targeting any certain segment of the community? Are you saying you all come from everywhere, all walks of life?
Come from everywhere, all walks of life. This is not
young, old,
absolutely.
Black, white, rich, poor, everybody come, because this celebration is a part of the American story.
It is indeed.
It embodies a part of a piece of history that impacts everybody.
What goes into who you decide to recognize?
Well, generally we talk about it and say, well, who are we going to look at this year in terms of giving an award? And we look at people within the community, like you said, that may not necessarily get recognized or be involved in a situation where they're always in the position of being, known and recognized. And so I think if we continue to do that, we'll probably touch upon a lot of people in this community over the years who normally would not be recognized in a setting like this or in some other ones. And so this year, when we discovered, which we didn't have a clue, that we had a living Buffalo soldier right here in Tuskegee.
Oh, is that right?
And was in World War II, fought in the 92nd Infantry in Italy, and has lived most of his life right here in Tuskegee, Mr. Booker T. Felder.
One of the things that I want to bring up before we end this conversation is that, Lateefah mentioned that June 19th was the date that the last of the enslaved Africans learned that they were free. But in this part of Alabama, there is a celebration that still happens on the 28th of May. In this part of Alabama, that was the day when enslaved Africans in this part of the South learned that they were free. And
so the word was just moving.
It was
from
moving
east to
because
west,
there was no email, no Blackberries, no CNN, no telephone. So the word came down and over, and that's how it was going.
Talk about trickle-down effect.
Exactly. And I can remember when I went to work at South Macon, I kept hearing people talk about the 28th is coming. And I didn't know what they were talking about, so I began to ask around. I went home and asked my parents, and they said, oh yeah, child, we know about the 20th. I said, well, why didn't you tell me? And they talk about how as little children they had camp meetings, and white folk knew that there would be no black people working on 28th of May in Alabama, in that part of Alabama. So that's what I celebrate as Independence Day. I might get the 4th of July off, but that's my independence.
One other thing I want to mention too about the event that we're having, our mayor, Mayor Neal, has agreed to come and talk to the people gathered about the significance of Juneteenth. And I think that's
it's in the morning.
That's the morning session. Because we split the day in two in terms of the program. There will be a morning program starting at 11, and then an afternoon program that will start at 3. But I wanted to mention that so people would know that in addition to just having a good time, which is what the celebration is all about, we also want to have some kind of formality to it to allow, you know, an opportunity for exchange in that regard.
We've got to grow our minds now. I'm telling you the truth. We've got to grow our minds.
Indeed, indeed.
You know, we're losing our youth, you know, by
Yes,
the
indeed.
dozen.
Yes, we
from
are.
gunfire and
Yes, we
stabbings
are.
and all that, and drugs and all of that. We don't have any time to lose. We need to be pushing everything positive, intellectual, and everything else that we can to grow us.
I agree totally.
And
I think
save
this,
us from ourselves.
this
too.
will be a great opportunity for that, because I know Mayor Neal, with his experience of dealing with young people and dealing with people, is going to have something very powerful that he can share. And in addition to having him to speak, we're going to have drumming, African drumming, because I think a part of the culture too is missing among us. We don't understand the significance of why do we like the beat, you know.
And
That's
those
it, the
drums,
drum
she'll
beat.
bring it out
Yes,
to
they
you.
do.
And that's
Right.
a part of who we are.
Exactly.
You know?
Absolutely.
So we're going to have African drumming. We're going to have dancing. We're going to have some martial artists to come out too and show us some of the skills in that. And so that will make up the morning session.
The afternoon speaker is Reverend Kenny Glasgow. Be awarding 2 women
Yes.
in the afternoon. Ms. Gwen Butler, who was a retired educator in Macon County and a descendant of Lewis Adams, I understand. And Ms. Diane Robinson, who is our local cultural connoisseur, who keeps us
Playwright, actress,
keeps us
dancer.
entertained with her all of her
And
work at the Repertory
businesswoman.
Theater. Well, we just want everybody to put June 20th on your calendar, mark that day, and show up.
It's a Saturday.
Come out,
the
bring the
third
children, bring your teenagers. You know, bring your just come and enjoy and remember.
Saturday. Yes, that's our theme, remembering our history. And I think you'll be glad that you did.